Hello, peeps. It is Christine Durfee here with P.H.D. And I wanted to share something about a little bit about neurodiversity. And this is specifically about the different cultures of neurodiversity and how each neurodiverse neurological brain is different than other ones. So even if we talk about neurodiversity, we're not talking about one type. So there's neurotypical and then there's neurodiverse. And according to a lot of research articles right now, there is autism, there's ADHD, there's dyslexia, there's other ones as well, but those are the pretty much the main three. But I want to talk specifically about autism, the autism brain, and the culture of the autism brain and words. So this is kind of an interesting thing about words. And I've been teaching this to a lot of my clients' families about words, how we as neurotypical people, if we're neurotypical, use words very loosely. And so it can be very confusing to our concrete thinkers. And I'm going to give you some examples. I love a couple of these examples that I'm going to share with you. And I'm actually wanting to write a children's book about these examples of words so that children can understand that people can use the same word, but very differently. And so it can be a little confusing. Okay, one word I'm going to tell you about is the word open, to open something. So I have a client that comes in. I'm going to call him Tommy. That's not his name. And he comes in with his mom and his big brother. And his mom says, Dr. Durfee, we can't get him to stop lying. He's lying all the time. Like, well, tell me what you mean by that. And she says, when we were going to play a board game and it still had the plastic wrap on it, Tommy started to take off the plastic wrap and we said, do not open the board game. And he said, I'm not. And the mom and the brother were all like Tommy, we see you, we watched you. You're opening the games. Don't open it yet. And he said, I'm not. And he said, stop lying. We saw you. And so this big conflict happens between the family members, the different neurotypes. And so when they were in my office, I said, well, Tommy, what does to open something mean to you? And he goes, well, it's when I can play with it. And I said, Tommy, you know what? I think you're right. Because if it's closed, you can't play with it. And when it's open, you can play with it. And so we kind of got a chuckle out of that. And then I shared with him, I'm going to tell you something, Tommy, because it's important for you to understand how typical neurological people think. And that is that if I give you a present, I have a toy, let's say, and it's in a box, and I've got it all wrapped up in wrapping paper, and I hand it to you and I say, Tommy, open your present, which includes unwrapping it. That's so weird, isn't it? That we use that word. We don't say, unwrap your present and then open it. We don't say that. We just say, open it, which includes unwrapping it. I know that can be very confusing. But so we use words that can very much confuse kids, and it causes the conflicts, just like I said. Another example, and this is a little bit of a different example, and it is an example that I use often when I talk about words with different neurotypes, and that is the word baby. So a lot of my clients do not like babies. They do not tolerate babies very well. They don't like the sound of them. They don't like their behaviors, all kinds of things. And so with babies, I tried to get to the bottom of this one. And so I asked, well, what does babies mean to you? Well, it means whining, crying, and getting your way. Okay, that's fair enough because babies do that. They whine, they cry. They whine and they cry, and mommies come running to them to give them to nurse or give them their milk or to change their diapers or whatever it is, because that's how babies communicate, right? And so, but then my autism friends, they understand it as those three things only. And I'm like, I'm thinking, okay, wait a minute, because when a baby crawls over and takes one of my autism friends' toys out of their arms, they go into a fit. Why did you do that? Why did you just take my toy? Why did they take my toy? And then mother comes running, but honey, they're a baby. But they should know better. My autism friends say they should know better. Why did they do that? But they're a baby. Okay, so why would they think they know better? That's a really good question. So I started asking more questions, not just what does baby mean to you, like crying, whining, getting your way. Tell me more about this. Well, my mom calls my dad a big baby. Oh, when he doesn't get his way? Yes, when he doesn't get his way, he's called a big baby. When I fall down at school in the playground, my peers, they call me a big baby. Quit being a big baby or quit being a crybaby. Oh, so baby only means whining, crying, and getting your way. So in other words, my autistic friends or my friends with autism, they struggle to understand the different brain development stages. And so in my book that I am going to be writing about words, I'm going to include that and talk about what baby technically means. We use that word loosely again. We use that term as something to call somebody when we're meaning something poorly, like whining, crying, and getting your way. So no wonder it's confusing, and no wonder if dad knows to not take my things and he's a baby, then the baby, my younger sibling, who should know to not take my things because they're a baby. Doesn't that make sense to you? So words can be very confusing. And so when there is conflict, makes ask questions. Ask questions when there's conflict. Well, what does this mean to you? So that you, as a parent or as a neurotypical person, teacher, whoever you are that is confronted with this, can get better understand what they're thinking. Oh, now I understand what you're thinking. Let me teach you how neurotypical things mess it all up. And how we confuse you guys so much that are oftentimes on the spectrum. And so anyways, I thought that would be a little tidbit of information for you. I hope you enjoy this, and I hope to provide more tidbits of information for you. All right, peeps, see you later.